Welcome to the InitiativeOne podcast. We are so thrilled to have a very special guest and a friend of mine that I'm going to introduce you to in just a moment. First of all, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your interest. The people who come to our podcasts are those folks who have a hunger to be the best that they can be and to learn how to be relevant in today's world. Leadership has changed dramatically in the last 25 years. In fact, many of the things that we learned as leaders, what it meant to be a leader a couple of decades ago, need to be thrown out and replaced. And Maria, who is actually joining us from Madrid, Spain, she's going to be sharing a bit of what does that also apply in Europe, particularly in Spain. So let me introduce to you a friend, a colleague, a partner. She is a part of InitiativeOne Global. Maria comes to us today from Madrid, Spain. She is a very accomplished leader. She currently is the head of school at the American School in Madrid. They have connections all over the world of interest. They do a lot of work with families tied to the NBA. You're going to enjoy listening to her. She comes from a varied background. She studied a lot in the UK. So Maria, it is so good to see you, and we're delighted that you have been willing to give us some of your very limited time. Thank you for being a part of our podcast today. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Fred. The pleasure is absolutely mine. I'm thrilled to be here having this conversation with you, talking about my passion, which is leadership and transformation as well, personal and professional.
So talk to us about your background. Talk to us about your journey, about what got you started in your passion for teaching and developing leadership, and what got you to where you are now. Just talk to us. Share with us your journey.
Pleasure. My journey, and that's the right word for it, started when I was finishing my law degree. And I was selected in a very competitive process to participate with a volunteer organization here in Madrid. Through this experience, I got a taste for teaching, and mainly teaching disadvantaged backgrounds, but from a place of empowerment, empowering them to become autonomous, independent, resourceful. So I discovered both teaching and coaching at the same time. I ended up working in the language industry. Then I moved into HR, also from a place of coaching and training and education of the employees. And then I moved to the UK, where I started a PhD in sociology. My research was the sociology of emotions, and I was also teaching. And when I was in academia, very focused on research, which is highly intellectual, but I learned a lot. I had a transformation, personal transformation, also through volunteer work. I was working with the Red Cross at the time with migrants and refugees coming to the country. And I remembered that I had a connection with the people I worked with in Spain when I was very young, barely finishing my first degree. And that I could do something with these people, something for them. And I trained as a coach. I went to the Coactive Coaching Institute, and I did train as a coach. And again, I set up my own company alongside my research and my academic work at the University of Liverpool, and it was highly successful. We were awarded with prizes. The town hall and the Lord Mayor of Liverpool contacted me to set up a program with European Regional Development Funds to help these people come into the north of England that had nothing, but they had a passion, which is for some of them was opening hairdressers, and all that wanted to start up a company, a big one, sometimes quite a big challenge and a big dream. So my tool was, on the one side, to give them the tools to be able to do that on their own. So I was their guide or a light, but giving them the tools to do it on their own, and also help them navigate a different culture and a different language. And I learned a lot about human beings at that time. And that made me want to do more and more of this, helping people in their personal journeys as I was helping myself on mine at the same time.
That is so terrific. You know, Maria, having a background, an extensive background in sociology, especially studying emotion, we were taught for a long time, leave emotion out of the equation if you're a leader. Emotion is it's volatile, it's unpredictable, it's not accurate, and yet we know today that in leadership, certainly here in the States, and I want to understand how it is in Spain. Here, emotional intelligence is the foundation of leadership today, which really is about getting in touch and checking and handling and managing your emotion, as well as relationships. And so, have you found that in Spain, that same transition from leading from the head to leading from the heart has taken place?
It is happening. If you go, well, in Spain at the moment, we have two different worlds, and they are contradicting each other. We have the theory that is being applied on places like LinkedIn and other professional sites, in HR forums, in conferences, in books. Many of my colleagues in HR are writing about it, talking about it all the time, that we need to lead through emotions, that we need to transform our leadership styles and become more connected to who we are and our emotions and how we feel. But on the other side, and this is about change and it's a process, are organizations in Spain, and it's taking quite a long time to see that change happening for real in organizations. They have the theory and they try to do something with it, but it's often quite superficial because they work with maybe models that are standardized, but they don't work with the people. They don't work with the person on an individual level. They don't take being into account when they try to embark on these transformational journeys. Something else that I wanted to mention as well is that in all of our organizations, making decisions is very important. It's one of the key things, how we make those decisions. And we cannot make decisions if we don't have emotions. We are connected with our emotions. It's about learning how to keep them at bay if their emotions are challenging or negative, or are going to have a negative impact on the other person or on the team. So it's about navigating the world of emotions in a positive way. It's not canceling them. It's not ignoring them. It's not pretending they don't exist. It's about working with them and knowing ourselves enough to be able to make a decision from a place of calm, maybe a place of knowledge as well, after we have evaluated the situation, instead of a place of reacting, a place of just merely responding from our emotion. That's the difference. It is happening in theory, but we are still quite far away from seeing a real change in organizations across Spain.
Well, you know, it's not just in Spain. You and I, we've done a lot of work together, and you know that one of the things that at InitiativeOne that we teach a lot is that one of the two major factors that separates world-class companies from everybody else, one of those is how they make decisions. And people think, well, as long as you have good data and as long as you have strategic resources, you'll make good decisions. And yet I'm hearing you say, and I certainly affirm this, that emotion can actually derail a good decision, no matter how much data. You know, we talk about that there's always two sides to the table. There's the over the table that we would call data and experience, but there's the under the table, which is relational and emotional. And we know that, for instance, the emotion of fear is probably the biggest driver in decisions that people make. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. We make our decisions based on fear or based on love. If we have learned how to control fear. Fear is a big driver of decision making, and fear is a big driver of behavior as well, which also has an impact on decision making. When we have to make a decision together, we need to know all the information. And if people are afraid about sharing the real information, the one that we need to put on the table, the decision is wrong because you don't have all the facts. We think we do, but people are not telling you everything that they feel or everything that they know. In order to have things on the table, we need to have a safe environment, an environment that allows people to share everything, even the conflicted things.
I was leading a group recently, and I asked the group, said, we need to make a decision, and we need to make a decision in a timely fashion, and we need your input. I said this to about 15 leaders. And I immediately got crickets. Nobody said a word. And when I challenged them, and I said, how right now, with 15 of you just made a decision, each of you made an individual conscious decision that I'm not going to contribute. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to open up. I'm not going to be vulnerable. And I asked them that question, with 15 of you right now not contributing, how is this problem solving? This is not world-class behavior. And I asked them, can you tell me what was behind your decision that I'm going to stay quiet? What do you think it was when I went around the room?
It's probably fear. It's probably fear of being judged. Leaders sometimes are used to an environment where they get punished if they share what they really think. And if they come from that environment, and also if as individuals they are driven by their performance instead of other things like a higher purpose or the purpose of the organization, fear is what drives that silence because they don't know anything else. Therefore, change also involves a personal journey of transformation. They have to be able to share those things if they are connected to a higher purpose, ignoring that fear, feeling safe in an environment, thinking that the higher purpose is not themselves or being judged, but the purpose of the organization, the goal, the critical goal that they need to solve, or the problem, or the challenge. They need to think like that, but they can't because they don't know how to.
That's fascinating. Here I was with 15 people, every one of them. I don't know. I bet half the room, half of those 15 had PhDs like you have. Very articulate, very skilled. And when I asked them, why didn't you make that decision? It's exactly what you said. One person said, I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid that when we walk out of here, you're going to think I'm stupid. I mean, think about that, how irrational that is. Another person said, I'm afraid to fail. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. I'm afraid that if I really speak my mind, like what you just said, there's going to be a retribution. I'm going to pay a price. And so every day, fear drives or inhibits or distorts our decision making. And fear is not weak. Fear is real. And we tell people either you can ignore your fear and make it worse. Well, I'm not afraid. Or you can, so it's one thing to be dominated by your fear. It's another thing to put it on the table and acknowledge your fear and then process through it. And so fear is a huge factor in decision making. But you said something different as added to that caught my attention real quick. You said there's another emotion that drives our decision making. What is that?
That emotion is love.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate. That sounds so squishy. That sounds so kumbaya, as people would say. Would you tell me, by the way, I am 100%, 110% in agreement with you. But why is love so critical in decision making to overcome fear?
When we think, everybody's seen this because it's all over the place at the moment. Win-win. What does that mean? What does that mean to achieve a win-win situation or solution to a problem? It means that you get something, but the other person also does. And it means in order to get there, you are getting outside of yourself and thinking about something that is above you or outside you.
Yes.
And that something can be values, it can be your community, it can be your team, it can be a goal for the organization, it can be a process of change. That requires a process of loving something more than you love yourself, which in this case are those values or critical goals or process of change, because you think there's something that is going to impact your organization and even beyond that, society.
You know, you're really describing the power of purpose, being in love with your purpose. We tell people all the time that you have to have a compelling purpose and this love that no matter what, your purpose is that which brings you sheer delight. Your purpose is when you go, wow, when I'm on purpose, life is not any better. It can't be better than this. And it's a love affair with your purpose. It's love affair with meeting people's needs. And so I'm so taken by I haven't heard it expressed quite the way that you're just expressing it. It's having a love and a deep commitment to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And I think that is what makes people better. And that's the reason why I started this journey as well. There's something in all of us, pretty much, unless you're a psychopath, and we can talk about that later. There's something in all of us that allows us to become better, to have that journey until the day we die, to become better people, better husbands and wives, better sisters, better daughters, better friends, better professionals. And for that to happen truly and deeply, you need love. You can't act through fear. Fear doesn't allow you to get moving. It stops you from acting.
Wow. That is terrific. This is so fun. I'm just loving talking to you. You know, Maria, we were so fortunate that you came into our lives. You know, there's 7 or 8 of your colleagues that have joined us from Argentina, from Mexico, from Spain, from Brazil. I'm going to leave out that's the problem, Ecuador. But we've got a team that comes from right now companies that largely speak Spanish as their primary language. And we've had the opportunity to begin to penetrate those companies through folks like you, who your company has partnered with us. And we're so grateful for your leadership and your partnership. Could you tell me, you've been around the block, you've seen all kinds of approaches to leadership. You've seen all the gimmicks and all the fads. How has InitiativeOne been a key driver in where you are right now as a leader and as a professional coach?
InitiativeOne has something that struck me when I first started undergoing the training, and is that it focuses on the person, on the being, on a deep transformation of all of us as individual, and then all of us as connected as part of a team, with our sense of belonging to that corporation or not belonging to that corporation. But it works at the same time as working on the being. It develops tools that allow you to put into practice that personal development in your professional career. It not only talks about models and systems, but something that goes beyond that, talks about how we are, what beings respond to, and also how each one of us responds on an individual level when we are under stress or under pressure, which is something I didn't know about. We have something that describes us, like a personality type that describes us when we are relaxed and comfortable, and something else that shows how we are when we are under stress and under pressure, which is what we have to focus on if we are going to help, for example, an organization undergo a process of change management or conflict resolution. Because what we are going to see here is people under stress. And we need to understand what they are when they are under stress. And InitiativeOne allows you to do that through the PVP scan. And that's amazing. It's an amazing tool.
Let's tie that into what you said earlier. We've talked about that the average American adult, from a scale of 0 to 10, has a self-belief, or another way to say it, a self-love level of 2.7, which means in summary, I'm not enough. I hope you don't find me out. I'm a fraud. I don't measure up. I don't matter. I can't compare to other people. And that's that narrative that most of us live with. And I have a feeling, because we're all interconnected, the same level of almost self-hatred in the lack of self-love is certainly a key issue where in Spain. Would that be a fair statement?
Absolutely. I think that is a common issue around the globe. I don't know why. I don't know what it stems from. Probably childhood, certain parenting styles. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this, but it's definitely an issue. What I can see in most organizations is this: if you have a team with you, in the end, what comes on the table is issues around self-esteem, being judged, being driven by how people are going to react if you do something badly, which indicates a low level of self-esteem, and that we can embark on a process of change, especially a radical one, if people are feeling so insecure about themselves. It's impossible. And here we also have leaders, people in really top positions. If you dig deep, that's how they feel about themselves.
Yes.
They don't show it, but if you have this process with them, then you find this out, which is shocking.
And you know, my experience has been that when I work with very skilled executive teams, I'll often ask them, let's be honest, how many of you sometimes feel that you're over your head? How many times do you feel that you're fooling people and you hope that you're not found out, that you're scared to death, that you're afraid? How many of you really doubt yourself? And the room will raise their hand. And I will say, well, talk to me about that. And when those leaders in that executive team start talking about that, you can see the tension in the room going like this, because they're going, wow, I thought I was the only one, and you're feeling the same way that I'm feeling. And you can tell at that moment this need to prove yourself and to sound smart and that you're not going to make a mistake goes down. And that's when a team starts really being real with each other. And when they're real with each other, it's amazing the information that comes out to help decision making.
Yeah. Absolutely. In order for them to do that, Fred, they need to feel safe, don't they? They have to be in a place where they know that nobody is going to leave that room talking about what they've shared. So we need to use certain things that allow them to be in that room sharing things that make them vulnerable and, in their opinion, weak. So we need to use different things. And this is also something that I really like about the process with InitiativeOne. From the very beginning, we go there and we talk to them about this. We tell them, don't worry about this. We're going to use these principles relating to trust, and respect that are going to help you feel that you're in a safe place. It takes a while, but as long as we always remember that those trust principles are going to be in place, people relax and people start sharing things. And it's a process. Again, it doesn't happen immediately, but it does happen eventually.
So when people feel real, that they can be real, and they're asked, what do you think? You don't get crickets in the room. You get responses.
Yes.
And when you start getting those responses, you start getting information that helps you to drive a decision. We teach, and I know you believe in this as well, the single most important thing that drives a leader's success, ironically, is not their experience, it's not their talent, it's not their background, it's not even their skill set. It's their ability to love and to accept themselves, warts and all. And unless that happens, you don't take risk. You don't put your guard down. You don't lean into someone. You don't take feedback from other people. And so this has been really such a fascinating conversation with you, that how love is, and loving yourself and loving that thing that you're so passionate about. I've seen people that are afraid to love a great purpose because they don't think that the purpose is big enough because they're not big enough. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
So as we begin to close down our chat, is there anything that you want to share with our audience that is particularly near and dear to your heart?
Yes. I would tell people to just stop for a few minutes a day, to become present where we are, and to think about what it is that they dreamed of when they were kids and how far they are from achieving those dreams. And the next thing I would like them to consider is a first step, just one, very simple, a first step they could do in 3 months' time, 3 months, that could take them a bit closer to that dream.
Wow. It's little steps, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just little steps, and giving your permission to be that kid again.
Yeah.
You know, when we were, what are you going to be? Well, I'm going to be this. I'm going to be a scientist. I'm going to go to the moon. And then life kind of knocks that out of us, and we're afraid to dream. And isn't it interesting that when we are accepting of ourselves and believe in ourselves, our ability to dream again begins to open up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's terrific. Let me ask you this, Maria. There are people all over Spain that are going to be watching this podcast. It's clear that you are a person of deep wisdom, deep depth, and a lot of experience. How can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about InitiativeOne in Spain, learn more about you and how they work with you? How do they get in touch with you?
I use LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn person. If anybody wants to contact me, they can find me as Maria Marshall-Clarke. My LinkedIn profile is open. They can send me messages. I have very deep conversations with many people on LinkedIn. Sometimes those conversations become video calls and sometimes they become something else. But I'm happy to be contacted via LinkedIn. We are going to launch InitiativeOne very soon, and we will be posting on LinkedIn about this announcement. So if you do follow me on LinkedIn, you will find more information about this very soon.
Maria, thank you. I want to say to our audience, thank you for joining us. Isn't she an incredible leader? I knew that we were going to have a fascinating conversation, and you haven't disappointed. For those of you who are watching, I want to say to you, if you want to know more about us, seek us out at InitiativeOne.com. But we have a very special opportunity that we give people every month called our think tanks. You can register Facebook, LinkedIn, our website to join us for our think tanks. It's a 45-minute, very active, energy-filled discussion that we provide to our leadership community on a complimentary basis. And that's your way to check us out, gain information on your terms at your speed. Has that been helpful to you, Maria?
Very much so. Thank you. Thank you so much, Fred.
Well, Maria, it is a joy to have you. I also would say if you want to hit the like button, feel free to do that. Join us on next month's podcast as well. Maria, I know that it's a lot later in Madrid than it is here in the States. And thank you for staying up with us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom about overcoming fear and being pulled by the power of love. It is huge in leadership. We appreciate you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Fred. Pleasure is mine.
Thank you. Take care, you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.